prognosticator refuses to talk to me. I request a fortune and receive only silence. Is that what my mother died for? I will destroy the false prophet, but not by taking a hammer to its shell. Instead, I'll show my people that it isn't infallible. I'll destroy it by proving that the predictions it makes are blatant lies. To do this, as part of every pilgrimage, the faithful have to descend into the Vale of Tears and secure a working animo core from one of the factotums that roam the area. Head down there and see if any of them have a working power source. No, I can't. My mother's body is down there somewhere. If I were to find it, I'd lose my resolve and I wouldn't be able to finish what I've started. If you need my help, use this whistle. I'll do what I can from up here to assist you. Be careful in the Vale. It's dangerous down there. Got this.
Transitioning to detection state 12. Stand by.
More where that came from, you mechanical monstrosity! Chew on this, construct!
Detection of recalibrate by set awareness reading and balance to 10%. Factotum beacon activated. Initiating security protocols. Combat protocols on standby.
More where that came from, you mechanical monstrosity!
Combat sequences recalculated.
Stand back. I've got this.
Initiating security bypass.
Chew on this, construct!
Conducting a system check. Awareness reading. Defensive maneuver station in progress. Adjusting.
More where that came from, you mechanical monstrosity!
Consulting energy diagnostics in progress.
Chew on this, construct!
Excess corrosion detected. Maintenance required.
Stand back. I've got this.
Routine diagnostics complete. Resuming threat awareness.
you able to find an Animo core? I see you've brought back an Animo core. It works, I assume. Good job. While you were gone, I figured out where to install the core. There's a cavity in the machine that looks to be about the right size. I think it goes in there. I'm not sure. I never went on a pilgrimage, so I've never seen the Grand Prognosticator in operation. My mother told me a few stories. She was always vague about the Oracle. Speaking of my mother, did you find anything else down there? How did you know? Oh, you found her. I didn't want to imagine what happened to her, but after seeing what you went through down there... Wait, let me see that. A passphrase. My mother never mentioned anything about a passphrase. I wonder what she hoped to learn by talking to an obsolete factotum. I remember...
Factotum beacon active. Initializing. Reflecting. Memory engaged. By the will of Set, please state your query.
It worked! Prognosticator, tell me what the fates have in store for Comet of Slagtown.
Reflecting. Charting possible outcomes. Comet of Slagtown. Minimum income. Inferior quality of life.
Great, you know all about me. But what does it mean? What's my future, you stupid construct?
Query. Reflecting. Prognostication unsatisfactory. Poor quality of life will lead to sickness, starvation, depression, and ultimately, death.
Perfectly dire. Just what I expected. And what about my friend here?
Reflecting. Reflecting. No relevant data in memory vaults. Error occurred. Please present yourself for immediate data collection. By the word of Set, I am bound. No pronouncements can be furnished without proper statistics to analyze. Please provide the appropriate passphrase or present yourself to... By the word of Set, invalid passphrase provided. Please present yourself to So the Seal's honored assistant to rectify the situation. By the word of Set, I am bound.
Interesting. The prognosticator doesn't have a prophecy for you. More proof that it uses what it knows to make calculated guesses. But it predicted doom and gloom for me. Now I can change my future and show everyone that our fate isn't fixed. By doing the impossible. I'll find the lost treasure of the Radius. In the past, the pilgrimage included both a visit to the prognosticator and a search for the treasure. Palbatin survived that doomed hunt. I'll get him to tell me exactly what happened. Then, I can retrace their steps, avoid...
Are you sure about this, Comet? Remember what happened to your mother.
With the Outsider's help, that treasure is as good as mine. Then everyone will see that the prognosticator is a fraud!
When I asked you to help Khamid, this wasn't exactly what I had in mind. I want to see our people abandon the reckless pilgrimage to the Grand Prognosticator. But going after the treasure is just as dangerous, maybe even more so. Khamid seeks to replace one foolish pilgrimage with another. Very well. I can tell you that the treasure exists. I've seen the wreckage of them because of the massive fabricate that prowls the area. Gear Grinder is bigger than 3 brawny Nords and 100 times more dangerous. It slaughtered the pilgrims that attempted to recover the treasure. I was the only... I'm still uncomfortable with all this, but I can see that you and Khamid are determined. The wreckage lies scattered far to the south.
Creature. It's even worse than Palbatin told us. Look, I appreciate all the help, but I don't want to see you die on my behalf. I'm no warrior, you know that. Without you, we wouldn't have gotten this far. I'll stay out of the way, so don't worry about me. Just be safe out there. What? Throw rocks? I won't even be able to dent that monstrosity. Listen, if you really need my help down there, use the whistle and I'll... it! Thanks to you, we found the lost treasure. This proves the prognosticator isn't an oracle. It's just a machine. Not a very good one at that. Now I can show the people of Slagtown that we're... Yes, my friend, spices. Wonderful, delicious spices. That's the most valuable treasure of all, when your diet consists of nothing but flavorless paste. This will not only improve our lives, it will show my people that our fate is not set in stone. More than that, spices are as rare as a blade of grass in a city of metal. Wealthy mages and apostles will pay dearly for such a tempting treat. But I need to be cautious. Others will try to steal this treasure. I need to hide it to keep it safe. Return to Slagtown and meet me there. Then we can show my people how we changed the outcome of the prognosticator's prediction and improved my destiny. I just wish my mother had lived to see this day.
I must attend to the planisphere. I have much to prepare, and for the first time within my memory, I feel the weight of my hours. Still, you have done much for these sacred halls. What is it that you wish? The cultists corrupted many mnemonic receptacles in their search for infamy. They are of little concern to me. Once the stars are guided, I shall focus my energies on expelling them from the planisphere.
serve you today, Lord Sothasil? Do you need your clothes washed? Your hair...
Core rotation initialized.
This year. Welcome, friend. Come, join our celebration on this glorious and special day. Today is the day that Lector Naril declares a new apprentice. I've improved my botanical knowledge and skills considerably since the selection day last year. I hope the Everwound Wellspring, a wondrous oasis in this mechanical desert. Sothasil created the place, but the Lector made plants grow in the metallic soil. Once every year, he distributes food and chooses an apprentice. You should come with me and see. In the past, the wellspring was accessible to everyone. Lector Narl sealed the place and started the tradition of the annual harvest and apprentice selection. Oh no, so many hopefuls. The gears just have to align in my favor. They have to.
Faithful of Sothasil, you may enter to collect this year's harvest in a moment, but first, I shall name my new apprentice. Sherazar, the Everwound Wellspring welcomes you as its new apprentice. The rest of you, come in and claim your portion of the harvest.
Thank the great gear. Let's go inside.
Totems will continue to gather the harvest and bring the containers here. In the meantime, use the lift and come see our oasis. always share a few words of advice with the hopefuls that weren't selected before I take the new apprentice under my wing. The Everwound Wellspring provides excellent opportunities for the novice apostles. You must be one of the new arrivals I've heard so much about. Everything in the Clockwork City, the soil, the flora, the fauna, it's all composed of gears and pistons and metal. It's like that everywhere. Everywhere, that is, except here. Because Sotha Seal set the wellspring in this metallic desert and blessed it with a reservoir of water. An exceedingly rare thing in the Clockwork City. He planned to create an oasis, but moved on to other projects before the task. We had water and a pressing need. It didn't take me long to figure out how to make actual living plants grow in this artificial soil. Now, save your questions and let me show you some of the wonders of the Everwound Wellspring. Come, everyone! Follow me into the viewing garden. My friends, the wellspring enjoyed a bountiful harvest. Let me show you how we accomplish our miracles. Simulated sunlight allows our trees to produce fruit sweeter than the orchards of Vardenfell. These pipes carry an alchemical solution that nourishes our plants. Factotums harvest the plants and pack them in special containers to keep them fresh before we distribute them to Clockwork City. We take clippings from the most robust plants to produce stronger varieties. Someday, we'll be able to grow plants outside these walls. Every season, we share our bounty and select a new apprentice from among the novice apostles. By the way, where did my new apprentice wander off to? My new apprentice, Sherazar. Where did she disappear to? Oh, she's off to a bad start. A very bad start. And have two novices wandering around the oasis unsupervised? Very well. Go find Sherazar and return to me with all due haste. Quickly now. The work of the wellspring can't wait for an idle apprentice. That's a complicated subject, and one better left to the actual apprentices. Suffice it to say that the process involves water treated with alchemical nutrients. That would require an even more complicated answer. Suffice it to say that we use lenses, crystals, and a unique power source to create life-giving light similar to Nern's sun. But without the apprentices, none of this would be possible. My program provides an opportunity to work outside the Clockwork Basilica, lets them try their hand at something different. Besides, keeping the wellspring going requires a lot of bodies. You'd be surprised at what's required to make my plants grow. That's a complicated... That would require an even more
was supposed to be a special day, but it turned out all wrong. There's something not right with this oasis. Sometimes a gear slips or a cylinder throws a piston. This place reminds me of that. Specifically, I saw my old friend Shirhari down one of the corridors. When I tried to go talk to her, the factotums blocked my path. They drove me off. That's the question, isn't it? And it's the reason I have a bad feeling all of a sudden. Why restrict where an apprentice can go? And why refuse to let me talk to Shirhari? No, I'd rather speak to Shirhari. I know her. I trust her.
Sherizar. Oh, this one purrs at the sight of you.
It's so good to see you too, Shirhari.
You shouldn't wander the wellspring unsupervised. It's dangerous. The factotums don't respond well to visitors they haven't been formulated to recognize. And the fabricants. A new apprentice? Really? But what does Shirhari know of such things? This one works in the dark and grows fungi, molds, and mosses. The Lector keeps me too busy for other concerns. Shirhari doubts there's anything sinister going on, so the seal blessed the wellspring with water, and Lector Naril's alchemical solutions make it possible to grow plants. It's good to see Sherizar, though. Apprentice? Sherizar is the first new apprentice to enter the wellspring in years. The Lector stopped selecting apprentices after poor Gathal's accident. At least, Idrono works with Shihari. He attempts to grow non-fungal plant life in harsh conditions. Since you're going to speak to him, could you bring along some of my mushrooms? But not the poisonous ones. Idrono will be grateful for the fungi samples, even if he seems No. Only the Lector can do such things. But perhaps this one has the next best thing. Shirhari will be fine. There is much to do right here, and the factotums are formulated to recognize me. The plaque is a precaution.
Core rotation complete. Resuming standard awareness. integrity diagnostics.
New apprentice, if you can hear my voice, step to the nearest speaking tube this instant.
A new apprentice? How curious. And are those samples of Shiahari's mushrooms? Excellent. I've been anxious to taste the new harvest. Texture similar to guahai. Interesting question. As far as I know, no new apprentices have entered the wellspring since Garthel's accident. But I have a bigger concern. Of course, Lector Gnarl tasked each of us with a different experiment. I'm attempting to grow plants without the benefit of the simulated sunlight. Lector Gnarl developed it using techniques he still refuses to share. The simulated sunlight provides nourishing energy that makes most of the plants we grow thrive. Not my... Oh, Towen's been with Lector Gnarl the longest. She might know something more. You'll need to cross my garden to reach her. Just watch out for the blasted fabricants. I just don't understand why my plants won't grow while Shihari and Otoan have no trouble making things bloom. What's to tell? Gathal died. Happened in Lector Gnarl's private workshop. We're not allowed in there anymore. Now let me think.
This is becoming more and more vexing. Why doesn't anyone in the wellspring know?
If you can hear my voice, step to the nearest speaking tube this instant. This is Lector Gnarl talking to you through this speaking tube. I had such high hopes for you. I see. And does this have to do with the endeavors of the Wellspring? I suppose I can't fault you for your initiative. Prohibited? That's a harsh word. No, we don't have any restrictions in the Wellspring. But Sherry... Did he? My workshop isn't restricted. It's just... private. You must see the necessity.
Interruptions are counterproductive. The seventh law of gears teaches us that. Well, since you've already distracted me, you might as well. Idrono. His experiment was doomed from the beginning. You can't grow plants without a source of nourishing light. My plants thrive thanks to the use of Lectonaural's simulated sunlight. That was the practice until Gathal died. Then the Lector sealed his private workshop and gave us these experiments to conduct while he perfected his simulated sunlight. It makes our I suppose Lectonauril could have more apprentices toiling in his private workshop. He keeps numerous secrets, so what's a few more? You can enter the workshop through the busted vent over there. Lectonauril's private workshop is restricted, but I don't expect you to find anything. If he catches you snooping around, feign ignorance and beg forgiveness. Lectonauril is one of the most respected clockwork apostles currently operating within Lord Set's great experiment. Every novice wants to become his apprentice. That's a long and complicated tale. The short form is that he was one of Sotha Seal's most trusted warrior scholars. When our great master abandoned the wellspring, an unfortunate factotum accident happens occasionally. Sometimes the poor contraptions just get overheated and explode. That's why I prefer to work at a significant distance from the machine. Lectonauril is one of the most...
I'm very disappointed, Sherazar. Shirhari's plaque of safe passage has been rendered inoperable. Now, return to me immediately.
Calculating patrol subroutines.
Lectonaural's notes should provide at least some hint.
Lens rotation in all functions are working as intended.
The early experiments failed, even though Lectonaural perfected his alchemical solution. I wonder how they solved the problem.
Storm clouds. Wind.
Making the wellspring work. I wonder how they finally got the simulated sunlight to nourish the plants. source of the missing apprentices? That's horrible. We need to see what's inside Naril's private workshop. Machine! Is that the inductor? The apprentices! It sucked the life out of them! This is the Lecter's simulated sunlight inductor. And just as we read in his notes, he's using the life force of the most recent apprentices to power the device. So the seal would never... No. If we leave, Lecter Narul will just use Shirhari or one of the others.
So now you know the secret of the wellspring. You see your role in our grand plan. Time is short. The life force of the previous apprentices is nearly depleted.
Life force can feed thousands! Lash out, because you fail to grasp the importance of what I do.
There's nothing to be done for these poor apprentices. The inductor has drained every drop of life from their bodies. The Lecter lied. He tricked the apprentices and killed them. But the machine does allow the plants to grow and provides food for the Clockwork City. I wonder, yes, one life a season in exchange for a bountiful harvest. What could be more noble than sacrificing your life to feed the hungry? And I'll continue to work with the remaining apprentices. Maybe we can find another way, someday.
How horrible! Those apostles, all dead?
Not just dead, drained of life to create the simulated sunlight.
Still, it's an amazing device. Lecter Narul's a true genius.
A genius? Look at this. Narul's insane.
Narul's dead, but the promise of the wellspring lives on.
You're not suggesting we continue to kill people?
We call for volunteers. Use their sacrifices while we continue to work on finding a different source of power.
How noble. I assume we won't be the ones volunteering this time.
Sherazar has the right idea, and I offer myself as the first sacrifice.
Idrona, no!
It's only logical. I'm an apprentice whose experiments never worked out. Allow me to contribute in another way.
Very well. Let's go make the necessary preparations.
One death to avoid many. This one still doesn't like how this all turned out.
Hey, not a job for someone who don't mind getting their shoes wet.
Listener does not understand. Khajiit? Argonians? They are apostles as well?
Well, they take anyone, don't they?
It does not matter who one is, but what they can do.
Not that it does us any good, mind you. We're all scrapped down in Slagtown.
Apostles, tarnished. It is all the same to this one. Each has something they want, and something they are willing to trade to get it.
Will I have to get metal arms now?
Modifications are extensions of the truth of your soul. A gift to those who seek the unending quest of cohesion. Watertight and everlasting.
I'll take that to mean they're optional then. Thanks.
You
join our sacred order takes not only skill, but also a dedication to innovation and discovery. It is not enough to simply learn what is, but to imagine what could be.
I guess I was lucky enough to get here before the big crowd. The rumors I've heard about those struggling to find a sponsor, well, I'd rather not discuss it.
I always find the best way to grease your... You look wound tight, friend. What can I do for you? Looking for anything specific?
Salutations! That's a fancy way of saying hello, by the way. Good way to make first impression, especially in a city like this.
I have many functions to help you with your purchases. All prices have been calculated with current market trends. My functions permit me to assist all customers. I have many functions to help you with your purchase.
I suppose I'll die here, won't I? Well, my shop should distract me until my ultimate demise at the hands of some horrid machine.
My meals have been created to be edible. All food items.
Information here is not only accessible, it's encouraged to be learned. Not hoarded away in musty libraries where only a privileged few can read it.
I think the hardest thing for newcomers to get used to is the gruel. We here in the Brass Fortress grew up with it, but I'm sure it's not easy to adjust to.
So many mysteries, all revealing themselves at the same time. Coincidence?
My functions permit me to assist all customers.
Is this how machines feel as their gears wind down? It's wondrous, isn't it? Elegant, meticulous, timeless. I once took joy in studying the perfection of this realm, but now every revolution of the great gear only tightens the vice. Then may I impose on you as a fellow seeker. For all my learning, I can think of no escape from my predicament, save one. An experiment performed by one of Terere Heladrin was ahead of her time. It was fear that led to her expulsion, not. Terere has been gone a very long time, but her ill-fated experiment created a persistent disorder in the grand schema. We were some of Tamriel's best and brightest magi, invited to the Clockwork City by Sothasil to attend his experiments and learn from the greatest mind in creation. We believed she was meddling with forces that were solely the domain of the Clockwork God. A backward emotion. Terere's ambitious experiment resulted in a factotum going haywire. It reduced portions of the brass age, Seeker. Too many grains from the hourglass have gathered in this humble body. They've worn its workings so thin. I don't think it will be long before I join the inert, but I'm not ready.
All prices have been calculated with current market trends.